technical difficulties. Brandon's making me sweat. God.
Okay, I got your mic off now. Now we're live. Okay, we're going to start in a second.
It is necessary to purge the establishment.
What she's suggesting that churches do, a focus on...
That's not necessarily a good thing to start with.
They're stating it wasn't around when we needed the greatest generation of the 30s or 40s.
It happened before the election because there's too many Republicans that are afraid that their wrongdoing is going to...
It's unacceptable, and I'm not going to sit here, stay silent, and not call it out. I'm calling out their lies.
With rules for Thanksgiving. Who the hell is he to tell us what we're supposed to do?
Do they think that we are so stupid that we will not notice and find out?
Hi, America. My name is Savannah Lynn, and I'm the host of a political commentary podcast called The Savvy Truth. If you love God, love your family, and you love this country, you can tune in at Right American Media on Facebook or at ramtv.live. This podcast airs 7 Eastern and 6 Central.
Hey Christians, here's a thought. If Jesus really rose from the dead, then that means that he's really God. And if he's really God, then the Bible is really true, like he said it was. And if the Bible is really true, then we can't be right about issues unless we're biblical about them. I'm Josh Barnes, host of Point of View, where we ask crucial questions about critical issues and find the answers from a biblical worldview. Watch Point of View every weekday at 4:30 Eastern Time on Right America Media on Facebook and at www.ramtv.live.
Hey y'all, it's Savannah from The Savvy Truth with Right America Media. I'm just here to let all of y'all know that we are officially partnered with MyPillow. And so you know I'm telling the truth. Our discount code is RAM, capital R, capital A, capital M. So go use that code when you want to buy any of Mike Lindell's awesome sheets, awesome pillows, dog beds, towels, or whatever the heck you want to get. And our official MyPillow phone number is 800-867-0416. So please go use our code, go use our phone number, and go get some of Mike Lindell's awesome, all-American, made in America towels, sheets, dog beds, and pillows galore. So go check them out.
I am a raging patriot. Welcome to Case Oak Uncensored. A little late here, but you know what? Sometimes we have technical difficulties and that's life. But I'm glad you're here. Thank you for hanging on. And in a bit, we will have a guest who's actually a personal friend of mine, Brandon. He is a travel nurse, and we're going to talk about toxic masculinity. We will be talking about being a travel nurse all across the United States during this pandemic, etc. Lots to talk about there. He is from the state of Arizona, but over the past 18 months has traveled around to numerous states and dealt with numerous clientele, hospital staff, etc. So that's going to be exciting. And plus, I have a backstory on how I met him, which is actually quite interesting in my opinion. Before that, let's just talk. You know what? I'm a bit moody today. One, I have neighbors. One of them is a communist. I'm pretty sure of it. And so it makes me a little more agitated. Things that your day-to-day normal neighbors would do, when she does them, just really sends me through the roof. For instance, I have 2 small dogs. I've lived in my house 13 years, and I was the first one, the only one that had dogs in my area. Now, in the last 2 years, every single person that shares a fence line with me has purchased small dogs. So now, every time I put my dogs in the backyard, it's a war, and I am sick of it. So today, and I am slightly embarrassed about this, I yelled out, "It would be nice if I could have 5 minutes without your dog being let out." I usually don't act like that, folks. And I am quite embarrassed, actually. But I think that's the difference between conservatives and liberals. I don't think that liberals are embarrassed when they act a fool. I did act a fool, and I am slightly embarrassed. It is annoying, though. I'm not going to deny that. Keep your damn dog in the house for 5 minutes so mine can have a peaceful experience in the backyard. But yes, the fact that she is openly against police officers, she tells me right to my face, openly against Trump when he was in office, and the list goes on, that makes me even more frustrated. I'm sure many of you have experienced the same thing. Sometimes I see that their flag in front of their house has been caught up onto their roof, and I think she did it on purpose. She probably nailed it up there. Got to get over that. But that's part of living in the Pacific Northwest, along with all of the leftist lunatics. Speaking of, you probably saw my video from yesterday. If you didn't, there is something that the Oregonians are looking to pass in November of 22 concerning eliminating livestock, the ability to have livestock. Every animal that would be in your possession would be considered your pet. You would not be able to consume it unless it died of natural causes. Yummy, sickly old meat. Sounds great to me. It's ridiculous. And actually, there's over 15 million acres being used right now for livestock in the state of Oregon. That would all be deemed completely worthless if this does pass. One, I highly doubt this is going to pass. But the good thing is that there are 5 counties in the state of Oregon that have already voted to secede from Oregon into Greater Idaho. Now, there's a lot more steps involved to even have something like that happen, but the process has been started. So that is good, because a lot of those counties that have that heavy amount of acreage, they are included in those 5 counties. So that would be great for those farmers that do exist. I looked up the farming operations in Oregon last night, and there are over 350 farming operations that make up for the majority of the farming in Oregon. Many of those are in those 5 counties that are looking to succeed from Oregon. That said, there is so much happening all over. How do you guys feel about the Fauci emails? I mean, it's about time we had something tangible. Hey, Drew, something tangible coming that proves that we're not nutso conspiracy theorists. We actually are critical thinkers that were able to identify or sniff out the BS early on. And so having those emails, though, I highly doubt that a lot of the fake news is spending much time covering the fact that those were uncovered in the past 48 hours. It is putting this in those faces that were wanting to deny the fact that this is a manufactured, the COVID-19 virus, it's a manufactured virus. It has a patent, much like the Zika virus. AIDS, those are patented. Those are man-made. You cannot patent something that is occurring organically. So that's just something to think about. I feel happy with the fact that there is some evidence out there that proves that we're not just wacko conspiracy theorists. You guys have heard me complaining about the mask situation for over a year now. And to hear that Fauci emailed Mark Zuckerberg that he didn't feel it was necessary for him to wear a mask. And he even goes on to state the fact that the virus is too small for the mask to even make a difference. Come on, hello. It just makes me want to scream at the top of my lungs at people that I see walking around wearing these masks, shaming people for not wearing the masks when they are completely worthless. And actually, he didn't deny that long-term damage caused by wearing masks for over 4 hours a day existed. So the other day, my son wakes up, he has horrible allergies and he has asthma. He's 8 years old. No, he's 7. Oops. He went to school in the morning. I felt like the worst mom ever. I ended up cutting a big old hole out of his mask and sent him to school. And he looked like one of those kids. And I said, my husband's like, oh, he's going to get sent home. Like, I don't give a rat's ass at this point in time. His teacher's cool. She didn't send him home. But it's just one of those things. We will be yanking them out of public school come September if this mask nonsense is still in place. Also, critical race theory, you guys, I'm sure you've been hearing about what they are looking to teach the kids. And what we just saw exposed with what happened in New York in a private school where they're basically teaching kids how to masturbate, that is just, and there were first graders. The level of disgust continues to increase. I cannot even begin to tell you how sad it is to sign in to my social media pages every day and to see this horrible garbage circling around. But with that said, there are some great things happening in red states, of course. I'm healthy. I don't need no vaccine. Love it. And that's just it. It's like, let's talk about that vaccine. So my dad's neighbors, my dad lives around here, they are pro-vaccine. They love CNN, love Fauci, all of that. They came to say, they went to my dad's house the other day, and I guess they showed up wearing just huge masks. And they were like, we're vaccinated, fully vaccinated. And my dad goes, and masked. And they're like, yep. They just don't get it. But the fact of the matter is, it's like we have an immune system. My mask is on the inside, right? It's like we have an immune system that is in place to help fight infections. And if you wear a mask and you aren't exposing yourself to just basic viruses and bacterias, it's going to become where it doesn't function properly. And I'm with you. I'm not a vaccine person. I'm not a mask person. My body was designed to do what it's designed to do. I'm going to let that play out. So we're having difficulties getting my guest in. So I'm going to sit here and ramble a bit longer. So if you guys want to pop up any messages in the chat, I'd love to talk to you live here about whatever is on your mind. My wife just told me about this and it's freaking terrible. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about what happened in New York with that private school. It's like a cartoon that they played, and it's talking about like kids, and it's teaching them what happens when you touch yourself, and if it feels good, make sure you do it in the privacy of your own home. And it was played to first graders. I mean, it's like, I have a first grader. I can't even fathom. And plus, you know what? It's like, exactly. I was just going to say, parents are the true teachers. They have to be involved. I was just going to say that, you guys. It's like, that is not their place. That is not their place. That's my job. That is our job as parents. It is not their job. I don't even understand the logic behind it. This liberal ideology. It's so incredibly frustrating. Hey, Keith. Oh, my DeSantis hat. So I set up, I'll show you what it's covering. It's covering technology. It's not very pretty, but I set up my third monitor. And so now I have all this chunky data, computer connectivity. I got this DeSantis 24 hat. I am a DeSantis fan. I actually want him to run more than I want Trump to run. I don't want DeSantis's vice. I do feel that he is a leader and he should be the number one. And I love Trump. He served his purpose. But I'm also thinking of longevity. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think, okay, so if DeSantis is elected in 24, we have a really good chance of 8 years with DeSantis. Now, let's just think about 4 years from now, Trump will be, 78? And then add on 8 years from that. So I'm just, when I think about something, for instance, I had a conversation with my father-in-law who lives in Florida yesterday. He said, come to Florida. It's awesome. DeSantis is so good. You guys need to move here. I said, hold on a second, though. I'm like, I agree. But he is a Band-Aid right now, in my opinion. He is a Band-Aid. Florida is not an uber red state. There is the Miami-Dade County that is very blue. And with all of the undocumented immigrants coming in, my concern is that blue is going to grow and it's going to make that state purple. And it is concerning to me. So if I'm going to uproot my entire family, I'm going to move to a state that is conservative through and through. Now, those will argue that Florida is conservative through and through. I don't know about that. I do feel that there is a strong conservative foundation laid, but I do also feel that there is an increase in Democratic voters in the state of Florida. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. But so I am a DeSantis fan, big DeSantis fan. I want him to run for president. Amen. Love it. So I want him to run for president. I've heard Candace Owens thrown around, holla, as vice. I don't know if I feel like she's ready for that. She's a great advocate, a great public speaker. But I don't know if she's ready for a vice presidency. I could be wrong. Fauci was part of this pandemic thing and should be held accountable. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I've heard that they're wanting to fire him. I'm like, yeah, you think? But then it's like, no, it needs to go beyond that. He needs to be put in jail. You don't just get to fire somebody who is responsible for the many deaths of people because he has misled us, because he had interests all along. And this goes back to the Obama administration. He was funding that lab in Wuhan back in the Obama administration. And actually, you guys might not know this. Obama told him to pull funding, and Fauci disobeyed Obama and continued to fund for 3 more months following that. And so, hey, from Florida, I'm curious what you think. Is that Mary? Sorry, I think I said Mary. I'm curious what you think. Is Florida purple? I feel that it's purple, but I want to know, is it purple? But anyways, so I appreciate rat's ass. I use the same term. You know what? You just have to have these go-to terms that you just pull out of your pocket. And when I can't say other words, I like to, ass is like a mediocre curse word. Yes, Trump has done enough to get us back on track, right? That's where I'm at too, Dan. I feel like Trump, he woke us up. We're awake. We're aware, and now it's time for DeSantis to take over. Her doctor talked her into it. Thoughts? Oh, shoot, Drew. I missed your initial. Are you talking about a vaccine, maybe? One, you know what? I don't, I'll just say, just seeing the second message here, Drew. I'm a bit nervous, actually. My 80-year-old mom just got the Pfizer shot. It's like it's done at this point. And then, what I'm seeing, her doctor talked her into it. Thanks, Juan, for putting that back up. It's one of those things where I'm seeing a lot of people, even my in-laws, they went and got the vaccine. They drove 6 hours in Florida to a location that had the vaccine, like right when it came out. They are so bought into it because their doctor told them to. And I'm sorry, but I know through having a child, my daughter has had epilepsy since 6 months old. And we've been through heck and back with that. You have to be your own advocate, and you can't just take a doctor at their word. You have to do your own research. You have to dig. And so for me, it's really unfortunate how much blind trust, blind faith people put in their doctors. And because not all doctors are created equal. I'll just say that. There are some that will go above and beyond. There are some that are totally burnt out and overworked, and they just are not invested in you as an individual. Trump can only do 4 more years. It's 8 total. Okay, I was just on TikTok live and I was asking, I said, I thought that Trump could only do 4 more years. And 2 people said, no, he can do 8. So I thought I'm with you, Keith. I thought it was only 8 total as well. You want Trump, second term was stolen from him. I totally get it. Yes, it was stolen from him. He did win. There's no doubt that he won. But the problem is, I'm really just trying to think of, I'm a longevity person. And that's probably why I don't do the short sales and all the short-term risks with the stock market, but I'm like a longevity person. And when I think of what I want for our country, I want 8 years with a very strong, dynamic leader that resonates with a large grouping of people. And for me, that's DeSantis. All right, let's see here. Probable cause exists from perjury. Fauci has been involved in extremely serious crimes against humanity. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And, we've only had, 48 hours of going through these emails. Tennessee is very red. Yeah, Tennessee is beautiful. Fire Fauci. Fire and incarcerate Fauci. That's what I want. He needs to be incarcerated. I have a cousin. I'll never trust doctors again. I agree. I have a cousin who is like obsessed, thinks Fauci is just our savior. I'm like, that is the most disgusting, demented. That's what they want. That's what they want. Yeah, no. So I'll talk to you guys about, let's see here. If Florida isn't high on your move to location, how about Texas? I feel, here's the thing. I love Florida and I love Texas. I have family in both. I feel that Texas also is purplish. I really do. There are definitely pockets where you have 1000% conservative values, but you have so many people moving from California. Oh my gosh, I have friends in Texas, one who has been a guest on this show, and he's a contractor. He's like, everyone I'm building a home for, they're from California. So I feel, honestly, when I think of places I would want to move, it would need to be really red. Like I'm talking Idaho, Utah. There's a lot in the South, definitely some true Southern states. Tennessee, I've looked at Tennessee. Of course, I looked at Nashville, and that's probably the bluest part of Tennessee. Let's see here. Wouldn't it be weird if Fauci, sorry, can't see that, whenever funded a Chinese Fauci, totally rogue operation? Yeah, sorry, that was a little bit, I was trying to read it and it was a little gibberishy for me, but I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah, he's a real piece of garbage, and he's fooled the entire world, not us. We're awake, but it didn't matter. They called us conspiracy theorists. Dr. Fauci sure does prove how horrid doctors can be. Exactly. So here's something. I'm just going to go off on the doctor bit just for a moment here. So I listen to true crime often, and there is a true crime series that is all about just nightmarish experiences with doctors. And so, yes, it's just like police, right? And that's where I'm married to a police officer. So it's like, there's a very small percentage that ruin it for the rest of them. And there are some amazing doctors out there. But there are some absolutely rotten ones that are just in it for the money. And so you trace back where the money's at, and that's where you're going to get your tried and true answers. But my thing is, you just have to do your research and be your own advocate. And it's just really unfortunate that so many people are just taking what doctors say and running with it, especially with this COVID vaccine. Now, I'm going to share something personal with you guys, slightly off of the political topic here. So I mentioned I have a daughter who, she's 10 and a half now, and she was diagnosed with epilepsy at 6 months old. And it was difficult to diagnose at first because her seizures aren't the tonic-clonic where you know what you think with TV. It's not, she wasn't shaking around. It would just shut off her breathing, right? And so it was very difficult to diagnose, and it would happen sporadically. So that was a whole nightmare of its own. And then she went on medicine, and she did not have seizures for 5 years. So we thought that she had outgrown them. And then when we started weaning down her medicine, they came back, but they were slightly different than they were when she was young. So rewind to November of 2019, she ended up having brain surgery to remove a benign brain tumor that they felt was the cause of the seizures. And so she had a very successful brain surgery in November of 19, and she's been great. Like all her school skills, math skills, reading, everything just shot through the roof. Like it was definitely holding her brain function back. So just with routine MRIs, which you do after brain surgery, they found that she has a cyst in the spot where her brain tumor was. And so now on the 14th of June, she's going in for her second brain surgery to remove this cyst that formed in the spot that benign tumor was in. And so when you think about having to be your own advocate she's 10 and a half now. So through the 10 years that I have been her advocate and digging into every medical file you can even think of and studies and research, you're going to find, and I found that there were some doctors that would dismiss your thoughts and dismiss research that you found very quickly. And that happened, and I experienced it. So So it's pretty wild. So one, if I could get prayers from you guys, it's the 14th. It's a Monday. Not even 2 weeks from now, less than a week and a half from now. That would be amazing. And then also just advocate for yourself. That's just my advice there, because I learned firsthand that it's so important. All right, switching back to border states are being invaded by future Dems. That's exactly it. So when you have states that are bordering these open borders, it's like you have this risk. And so they're coming over because they knew there's a president in office who basically does not, he wants them to come over. He's saying, yeah, come on in. So they're thinking he's their savior. They come in and then they're going to repay by voting for his party. So that's exactly what's happening. These open borders, you think that the people coming over illegally are going to vote GOP? Hell no, they're not. I mean, maybe 1%, maybe. No, they are future Dems, and they did it on purpose. We scratch your back, you scratch ours. So that's exactly what it is. They should look into Fauci's college grades. Oh, and you know what? He has ties. You guys probably know this. He has ties to Bill Gates going way back. It's like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Illegal aliens have come into the country since January, and you're paying for them. Oh, I know we're paying for them. I know it. It's just, where's this money coming from? Like, I can hear the inflation. It just drives me absolutely nuts. And they're treated better than our veterans are treated. That should be a wake-up call, but people just keep carrying on. Oh, thoughts and prayers. Thank you so much. You too, Keith. Thank you very much. I know we'll be talking, but yeah, lots going on over here. That's probably why I lashed out on my neighbor in the backyard. A little stressed out. So maybe for the next couple weeks, she should keep her dog inside. But anyways, I might have to text her and apologize. Maybe not, though. Oh, gosh. Well, I just want to add, hey, Juan, sorry to put you on the spot. Do we have any videos that we're able to pop up here for commentary? We do have one? Okay, cool. All right, you guys, we're going to play video, and then we'll have some commentary coming up.
So me and my coworker got talking today, and something came up that I didn't really think about when my dad mentioned it to me. He's worked in the agriculture industry for over 40 years. This year, farmers are being offered 1.5 times the value of their crops to destroy them. They're also being told by the federal government they will not receive subsidies for farming if they refuse to destroy their crops. What does that mean? That means that the farmer cannot afford to provide you with food based upon the taxes the government is levying on him if the government doesn't in turn give him back his tax money to provide you with food. Kind of a fucked up system, but that's how it works. And, well, they're not going to subsidize them if they don't destroy the crops. They'll pay them more than what it's worth, and they want them to destroy it, and they'll still get their subsidies. They're trying to create a food shortage. We've got 8 months to get our own food supply. We're probably going to be facing mass starvation. Good luck.
Wow. You know, it's like I knew that was happening, but not to that extent. It's absolutely nuts. And so when you guys, and I hope you guys are prepping at least a little bit, get some water, get some food on your shelves. I know I do, and my husband thinks I'm nuts, but he's going to be eating it. I'll tell you that. He'll eat it when we don't have a choice. But it's very scary. So you think about who's buying up land. Bill Gates, right? He's buying up all this land across the United States. I believe, is he the #1 landowner in the United States right now? I believe that is the case. You have to ask yourself why. And the other thing is, you know, the whole purpose is they want us sick, they want us unhealthy, and they want us dumb. And that's why there wasn't an emphasis on getting back to school in the blue states, especially anytime soon. They want us to be in need of them. They want us to need government assistance because that puts them in control. And the fact that people can't see this for themselves is so disturbing. someone might have a degree or have a fancy job, but you know what? The people that actually are the smartest to me are the down-home people that are common sense thinkers and know what the hell is going on and can see it for what it is. And I'll tell you what, I can tell you firsthand that people, and I won't go into what industry I'm in, but in the industry I am in, I work with professionals, millionaires, and when it comes to what I do, they are clueless. And you think, oh, I was like intimidated by you. But no, you only know you're a one-trick pony. And that is the problem. Those are the people, yeah, they might be a doctor or a lawyer, but they don't know what the hell is going on in all of these other areas of life. And so just remember that and know that I know that. I truly believe that that country people or just your blue collar workers, the smartest out there. And it's because we have common sense. And that is more valuable now than ever. So take that and run with it. And get yourself prepared, because the last thing we want is to be dependent on the government for our food subsidies.
Hey, Kisak, how you doing?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
The cavalry's coming. Try to help you out here a little bit. My apologies.
I've never done. I think the most I've done by myself is like 5 minutes.
Well, I think you've done a great job, and I'm sure everybody who's watching right now will agree with me as well. So, just wanted to let you know, yeah, we're having a problem with Brandon. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get him in. But
okay.
What we'll do today, I actually got one really funny video from our friend Dan Was, and it kind of tells you the type of people that we conservatives we have to deal with. So I'm going to put that video real quick. It's about a 2-minute video, and you're going to laugh because, by the way, it's a Twitter thing. So for all of you that are watching, just watch this. By the way, this section in the Loaded Mic is called "You Need a Knuckle Sandwich." So watch this.
Hollywood gun hypocrisy, escaping the ghetto, David Hogg gets schooled, and a brand new segment called You Deserve a Knuckle Sandwich. This is the Loaded Mic, and I'm Dan Was.
Well, I tell you what, that's the next whole show. So let me just get the knuckle sandwich because it is hilarious. Here we go. I got it right here. Nothing like live show, right? Nothing like a live show. Let's see if this one works out.
These people know it's not.
All right, we're back. Now, due to the cognitive decline and lack of critical thinking we're experiencing in our country right now, we were forced to create a new segment on the Loaded Mic called You Deserve a Knuckle Sandwich. The segment wasn't created for the intent of insulting people, but just to let you know that there are some very stupid people out there, and sometimes they deserve a virtual knuckle sandwich. So today's You Deserve a Knuckle Sandwich quote comes from a tweet by someone named Nee. Apparently, Nee has a family member who is having a baby, but Nee doesn't know exactly what that will make him or her. Here's Nee discussing the dilemma on Twitter. This is an old one, but well worth taking a look at. Nee says, quote, "My sister is pregnant. I can't wait to see if I'm a be a auntie or uncle." So, well, Nee, let us know when you figure that one out. So,
oh my gosh,
that's the kind of people that we're dealing with.
Oh, you know that is it Nee? You know Nee voted blue. We know that she's on the left. That's like. So she thinks, depending on the gender of the baby, that's what she's going to be, an aunt or an uncle. Wow. That's fantastic. You're right. I do like that.
I figured the audience would really like that. And by the way, which is a shameless plug for the next show anyway. So the Loaded Mike and Dan Was, which will be on in about 12 more minutes, which means you have about 12 more minutes to continue. But hey, we have your audience is amazing because they are just talking about a lot of stuff, and I want to put up some of the stuff that they're talking about. You know,
awesome.
Yeah, yes, Gates is a number one farmland. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so, that's frightening.
See. We got. Oh, not that one. Here we go. Need to prepare. Turn your power water off for a week. No phone. No. Yeah, you'll learn something. No doubt about it. I'm actually I'm actually a prepper myself. I've been prepping for quite a bit. As you already know, I'm a military. Well, I'm a vet. 28 years. My last assignment, I was the emergency preparedness liaison officer to the state of New Hampshire, where I live. Which means I dealt with all this FEMA, dealt with all, I got deployed in different places to go, take care of emergency preparedness, so on and so forth. You know what was the number one thing? Well, there were two big things that I learned in that job. First one, perception is everything. The media just wants to have FEMA with a check, a bag of ice, and a loaf of bread right after something happens. It doesn't matter if people don't need a check or a loaf of bread or ice. Its perception is everything. Second one, if you're waiting for the government to come and rescue you, you are wrong. The first 3 to 5 days should be on your own. You'll be able to deal with whatever happened on your own. The next week, maybe the local town is in fairly good shape to be able to help you out. The local town, maybe the state, and as a last resort should be the federal government. Everything has been turned around since Katrina. They expect the federal government to be there like on hour 2 after the hurricane or or whatever disaster happens. That's not the way things happen. They're not supposed to happen that way. And so
that's a good reminder. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it is.
So I follow what you're saying about prepping. Is very, very important to prep.
Absolutely.
Food you should have as a minimum. You should have a week's worth of food for you and your family. Water, right? And then, as one of your viewers said, turn off the electricity for a week. You will learn a lot about what. And so.
Yeah. Well, on that, I actually, I believe it was in February, we lost power due to a ice storm. We lost power for 4 days, and I was able to find deficits in my emergency preparedness. One, I had this hand crank phone charger. It was absolute garbage. Didn't work at all. As it was charging, it was sucking the life out of it. And so I found I need a generator. Oh, thanks. Keith's like, doing great, honey. Yeah, so I found deficits. So I completely agree with that. Turn your power off. Like mine was forced off for a week and we were cold and I got sick of eating cold food. And so I have found things and I've purchased them since that I had to go through that experience to identify the deficit. So I completely agree.
If you don't mind, I'm going to say Drew Michaels right there, and I just put a Patriot Food Supply.
Yes.
I highly recommend that. Okay.
Yes. They're out of Utah. I believe they, made in the USA. I actually bought some of their, I think it's like 25-year shelf life food. Smash that like button. So nice. But yeah, no, I completely agree. Thank you, Juan. That was nice of you. Seriously. And thank you guys so much for coming on week after week and supporting me like this. It's really, really cool. And I look forward to it. And we'll have guests on the next shows. Sometimes it falls through. I had 2 guests lined up today. 2. 1, her kids got sick. 2, technical issues. It happens like that. And so thank you for hanging in there with me and making things a little easier with your comments. Yeah, My Patriot Supply. You know what the Mormon, because the Patriot company that Drew was talking about, the Mormon, or I should just say Mormons, the Mormon religion, they seem to do really well they are prepped. And so you'll find a lot of these companies are based in Utah and Mormon own and ran. So yeah, and I'm only going to buy stuff made in the USA, and that company definitely is. But there's so many other ways too. When I go to the store, I am always buying. And again, I say I have a husband who's a penny pincher, and so it's a funny combination. But when I go to the store, I don't just buy the one peanut butter that I need. I buy 4. I'm a forfer. I buy like 4 of everything I need, and then I shelf them in my garage. And yes, I cycle through it, but I always have extra. So that to me, it helps me sleep at night. Jericho. Okay. I have not watched that. Drew. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. No, I'm always looking for a new Netflix.
Yeah. So, okay. So here's another, as you can tell, I am not from Sweden by my accent, right? So, and hopefully your audience can tell as well. So I am from Puerto Rico. Yeah, I'm from Puerto Rico, and I still have family there. My mom still lives there. My brother lives there. And as you probably already know, well, you know what? What's the name of that young girl that thinks she's a congressman, but she's actually
AOC?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I say she thinks she's a congressman, but she's more than something else. She just tweeted this week. She went to visit her grandmother in Puerto Rico, and she tweeted some pictures about how her grandmother's home is, and how 4 years later, she's still blaming Trump for not taking care of Puerto Rico. Now, I'm going to tell you one. Yeah, I mean, obviously, she got crucified online because, you had AOC, you have 2 apartments. If you're so worried about your grandmother, you should have done something about it, right? So yeah. So anyway, when the 2 hurricanes happened back to back, it took me 5 days to be able to get to Puerto Rico. 5 days. Wow. And I'm a pilot. I have ways to get there, but I couldn't get there because the infrastructure was not there to support airplanes at that time. 5 days. Remember what I just said before, right? Everybody expects the federal government to be there with a loaf of bread, 1 bag of ice, and a check, and just to fix everything. Well, that doesn't happen. That's in people's mind. That's just a dream. You need to be prepared to fence for yourself for at least 5 days. For at least 5 days. So again, that's a classic example. Oh, by the way, and let me make this perfectly clear. Okay, so I'm Latino. I can talk bad about Latinos and still be called racist, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, the biggest problem Puerto Rico has, okay, is political corruption. And this didn't happen in 2017 when Trump took power of the United States over the presidency. This has been happening for decades. The American taxpayers subsidizes half the government in Puerto Rico. Most of that money goes somewhere that is not intended to be. So for AOC to say, hey, due to Trump, that's crap. Go to a bar and just fix a drink. That's probably the best thing you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway.
I've seen somebody that has a shirt that said "Make AOC a bartender again."
Oh, I love that shirt. Shirt.
That's a good one. I know, it's just crazy. Yeah, she's just a worthless pile. I don't know how these people get into their positions. It's just trickery. I mean, literally, it's. I can't even. It's mind-boggling. But
yes.
But you know what? I think she'll have something coming to her.
I'm sure.
Speaking of, let me share a little karma situation that happened. So recently in Vancouver, Washington. Now, catalytic converters are a hot commodity. I don't know about where y'all are from, but here in the Northwest, catalytic converters are stolen all the time. And that's Washington and Oregon. I'm sure California too. And so this individual had put a Mercedes, had jacked it up to take, you guys are going to make fun of me. I don't know. I somehow it was jacked up. I didn't know you had to get it from underneath. But so anyways, the car was up, lifted up, and he was underneath doing what he needed to do to loosen the catalytic converter to steal it. And the jack fell, smashed him, and he ended up dying. But when my husband was telling me that story at the same time, we're like, karma's a bitch. And it's one of those things. I'm a Christian, but yeah, I also feel that, you know what, when you put this negativity into the world, it's going to come back and get you in one way or another. So I think she has it coming to her at some point in time. But yeah, so that's interesting. Hey, I'm going to put something out there, and I won't give specifics because I can't give my source up. But here's a hypothetical. Not really. What if you needed emergency services and you are in, let's say, Portland, and emergency services was not allowed to be based in Portland for political reasons. So for them to get up into their helicopter, for them to help out, they have to drive 45 minutes to where their helicopter is located and then fly however long that takes to get over Portland. So 45-minute drive to where they're housed, and then they have to fly. That is what's happening because of anti-police politics here in the state of Oregon. Now, again, I had to be somewhat hypothetical there and couldn't give you too many details, but just start to wrap your mind around how out of control anti-police rhetoric has become, to where they're not even allowed at an airport any longer. They have to go find some ma and pa little place to park their helis. So anyways, pretty crazy nonsense happening here. But you guys, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for hanging with me. This is what I call a grassroots podcast today. We pulled it together. We made it happen. And I appreciate you guys and your engagement. And I've really loved getting the chance to chat with you more. So maybe that was just meant to be all along. Anyways, have a wonderful Thursday, and I will see you next week with a guest, hopefully. Have a great one.
You're listening to The Loaded Mic. Ever wonder why anti-gun movie stars glorify guns on the set while denouncing them in real life? Take Liam Neeson, for instance, an actor who uses guns as a tool to further his career but wants them banned for private use. When interviewed in 2014 by The Independent, the Irish actor said, quote, "I am totally for gun control in the U.S. The population of America is roughly 300 million, and there are 300 million guns in this country, which is terrifying." He went on to say, "It's crazy," Neeson said. "I'll give Britain its dues. When they had the Dunblane massacre in Scotland, within 24 hours, the gun laws were changed so you could not have a handgun," end quote. All by Liam Neeson. Well, Liam, first of all, your 300 million American guns is a modest assessment. And didn't we beat the tea and crumpets out of the Brits in the 1700s because of that exact attitude? Also, wasn't the Dunblane School in Scotland a gun-free zone where students and teachers were rendered unarmed and helpless? I wonder how that would have turned out if there were some good guns in place to protect those children. The problem is, those trapped in the left-wing anti-gun bubble of irrational fear are unable to recognize the importance of firearms in our country. And they've bought into a culture that not only pushes gun fear, but has created a popular table comprised of people who will obey and conform to the narrative du jour. Unfortunately, those who can't stand on their own will alter their beliefs to be accepted into the cool kids club. The problem is, they must tippy-toe through the landmines of hypocrisy and eat from the rotten menu that's served at the popular table. On Tuesday, lunch may consist of Joe Biden pushing for an unconstitutional gun registry through a national background check system. But on Thursday, you might get a steaming bowl of Hunter Biden lying on the same background check and getting away with it. The hypocritical Hollywood anti-gun crowd seems to forget that the freedoms they enjoy in America are because of guns and the leverage guns have afforded American citizens over their elected employees. People like Liam Neeson do, however, recognize that should they change their views on guns or any other left-wing policies, they will be abruptly kicked out of the hoity-toity society that they've become dependent upon. In the world of glitz and delusion, conforming to the narrative is a matter of reputation and career preservation, always at the behest of their own cancel culture. It's much easier to change your personal beliefs and express yourself and get destroyed by the very Frankenstein monster you took part in creating. The Popular Table, explained in my book, Good Gun, Bad Guy, lures in the weak and uses their own need of acceptance to control them. Now, gun owners are often astonished at the level of arrogance the anti-gun crowd has when pushing for gun control in an effort to destroy our Second Amendment. We can't understand how these people can think the way they do because we directly attribute our freedom to the principles our founders recognized at the time our country was founded. The political left has done a number on the thought process of those who subscribe to the progressive ideology by manipulating them into believing that their lives in America are a direct result of government-issued privilege and popularity scorecards rather than God-given rights inherent simply by being human. In a time when socialist Democrats are doing everything they can to disarm American citizens while defunding police departments and encouraging left-wing domestic terror groups, the majority of people wonder how it's possible that some could support this type of behavior. The truth is, their insecurity is the monster that must first be fed. Politics feeds the emotional insecurities of those who cherish their seat at the Popular Table and will do anything to be accepted by their peers. If all of a sudden guns were to fall into fashion among those on the left, you can bet Meryl Streep's Golden Globes that Hollywood would change its public position on guns faster than Lucasfilms can fire Gina Carano. So here we are today at the Loaded Mic, and we're going to talk about this, the Hollywood hypocrisy, with our very own John Chiara. John, how are you?
Hi, Dan. Everybody.
What's going on? You look a little confused today. Everything all right?
Little overexposure to petroleum products over the week so far.
So I've heard, but we don't have to go into that.
No, that's cool. So it's hypocrisy stuff, huh?
Well, hey, that's what they live by. It seems to be their their menu. So
well, it seems that it's not just only guns; it's violence in general.
You think?
I mean, I watch some movies and it's just nonstop, rock'em sock'em, crazy through the whole thing. So I guess that's interesting to watch for people. But
well, we showed on the clips on this show that movie True Lies with Jamie Lee Curtis, where the gun is falling down the steps and
gun.
And it's shooting and killing all the bad guys as it's falling down. So it kind of gives you that impression that the gun has a mind of its own, sort of thing. So that's just one of the illogical things that they have going on. But the idea that they'll use guns in movies to make money, they have no problem with that. And then they go out like Liam Neeson and even Meryl Streep, like we just mentioned in the monologue. Meryl Streep, well, she's done movies too with guns, but yet they're anti-gun lefties, and Liam Neeson, for instance, is out there promoting gun bans. So
well, it's convenient to be able to separate that, I guess, right? In your own mind,
I guess
this
they have
matters. This doesn't matter,
right? So it matters that I'm pretending and I'm creating this imagery of guns being used for whatever reason, kill. In most of the movies, it's killing people. So I'm okay with that, creating that imagery, because then I'm going to go over here in real life and I'm going to promote gun restrictions because, oh my God, all you got to do is look at these movies. The movies that they're creating, they're creating the imagery and the narrative of guns being used for bad things. And then they're going over here and they're trying to restrict guns from law-abiding citizens.
And at least half the people in their movies are criminals. Right off the bat, they're criminals, so they're already not obeying any laws anyway, right? Or they wouldn't be making a movie about it, right? If they weren't breaking the law.
Right, so whatever, exactly. Yeah, they're already, what are they, gangsters or they're mobsters or whatever. So
something does.
So it's just the hypocrisy though is crazy because then, and maybe if I know Danny Wass Jr. is busy over there, but maybe he'll chime in on the Gina Carano thing because there was a thing on Gina Carano where what did she do? She did something that
expressed some views
pissed off the left, right. and then Lucasfilms, like
took her off the show,
her.
Right?
So cancel culture. Do we know what kind of information can you give us on that, Danny?
Well, basically, she posted a tweet on Twitter saying that how the Holocaust started was by the Nazis turning regular citizens against the Jews and kind of relating it, not necessarily saying it, but inferring that this is what's happening to conservatives and Republicans just for having different types of views, and it's not going along with the narrative. And then Lucasfilm ousted her. And then there's a lot of hypocrisy because Pedro Pascal, her co-star, well, she's not really the star, but the star of the show, he posted something like comparing like Republicans to like losers. So it's like losers in 1865, losers in 1945. So it had the Civil War or the Confederate flag, and then the Nazi flag, and then losers in 2020, and it had the Trump hat. So inferring that like Trump supporters are Nazis and
like descendants of or whatever.
Yeah. So basically saying, and then Gina basically just said, "Hey, this is kind of cautionary tale. We should pay attention to this." And so.
And they didn't like that. They wanted they wanted that narrative out there, and when somebody spoke out against it,
that's how everything is, right? I think it's to the point where we don't even know that it's happening most of the time. You just don't see stuff, right? That's the sinister part of that. It's not like everything's out there and you're getting to choose what's good or bad for yourself. You only see part of it, so somebody else decides for you.
Right, and the way the media puts everything out there, it's subtle. Everything is subtle and little messages and
plus omission in general is subtle.
Sure.
Right? If you just don't say anything, it's not like it's a subject you're going to argue about. So then, that's the biggest version of this is all the people now. We all realize the possibility that the COVID virus did come from the lab in Wuhan. Maybe not intentionally. But
wasn't Trump saying that early on?
Well, Trump was saying, he was on Dan Bongino yesterday saying that he said it, and it's the kind of thing where the media has just suppressed that talk for the last 6, 9, 10 months. Just took it out of, they don't talk about it anymore. And now it's coming back up, and you're watching people like Fauci and stuff saying, well, you don't really know. It's just like, it's such, the thing of it is that's the kind of stuff, this is a great important example of how things that are in that category of nobody knows if they're black, white, right, wrong, whatever, need to be in the public discourse full force all the time. So you don't waste 10 months not looking into something that probably happened. And if we knew what was going on, we might not have a lot more information about the disease than we have now. It's all just, it's suppression and political suppression. It's sad.
Well, it's almost like, I always thought that the media was controlled by the Democrats, but it's almost like now Democrats are controlled by the media. And I wonder, you got one or two people high up in media, in CNN, what's his name, Zucker, and and plus social media too. So you got Zucker and Zuckerberg.
What's up with that?
I don't know, but it's weird. But you got these guys. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Two Zuck.
Simulation winking.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, so you got these guys who are gaining so much power with their platforms, and it's almost like the Democrats, may have started it and may have influenced it, but now they've given too much power to the media monster. And I'll bet you that some of the most powerful people on this planet are those people who control the media because they understand they can control minds.
And I think a lot of it isn't even, I believe that a good part of it wasn't that they were going into it contemplating, we're going to go and control the country. It's just that because the platforms became so popular that, like a lot of things that grow exponentially like that, whatever system you have set up in the beginning isn't necessarily going to be serving you 5 years down the line because you didn't anticipate all these different things that were going to happen. So when all this stuff started coming at, everything got so politicized, and basically everybody chooses a side, right? We all go to a team. So once you decide that you're on this team, you don't really have a choice. So the media has pretty much decided what team they're on. So I don't know how they would ever change. And that's the sinister part also of what we often talk about how people on the right hear the same stuff that people on the left hear because that's mainstream media. So we all hear it. But all the stuff that doesn't get put on mainstream media for the omission that we talked about, the people on the left never hear any of this other information.
Right.
Ever. Right? So when you bring that up, they look at you like you're crazy because, well, it's not in my world. What are you talking about?
The thing is, what I can't understand is how they, on the left, they can't see the violence and destruction that's been created. Like, we talk a lot about the riots in 2020, the left-wing riots of BLM and all this stuff. How is it that you can talk to a lefty and you could say, what about all the riots? What about Chaz taking over a portion of Seattle? What about all the stuff that's been happening in Minneapolis? And which, as a matter of fact, I got a little story about Minneapolis. But Portland is, I still think right now, but you're not seeing it in the left-wing media.
And this brings up another deep issue of hypocrisy. The left, it seems, is all about something happens, everybody on the other side is responsible for that, right? If you voted for Trump, you're responsible for what I think is evil. Therefore, you're evil. I thought last night, I was listening to some different newscasts, and I'm thinking, well, if that's the case, then how about we put that over here and say, okay, everybody on the left, stop those riots. You're responsible.
Yeah.
You voted for those people. So what's the story? It's a total double standard, but it reaches so deep that I don't think anybody's even looking at it. You know what I mean? It would be so hard to examine yourself and say, wow, if I'm responsible for all these riots, what am I going to do?
Well, and here's another thing, and I hope Danny Wass Jr. has a clip of this. There was recently, in the past few days, they were in... was it Minneapolis? Where was George Floyd? It was Minneapolis, wasn't it?
Guess so.
George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, right? Yeah. So it was in Minneapolis. They're having this vigil or whatever. They're gathering and they're praising George Floyd because of the upstanding humanitarian
on his death anniversary, right?
He was right, his death anniversary. So, and just talking about, and I'm sure Anthony might be able to comment on just what a great guy George Floyd was, right?
No.
Want some of this? I'm being sarcastic, but obviously, so anyway, they're having this vigil and they're also speaking and and while the guy is talking, the news broadcaster is talking about having this event and denouncing or talking about reforming the police departments and all this stuff, there are freaking gunshots going off. I'm like, you gotta watch this video. Watch this video.
This bill of comprehensive police reform to be. Just got to be careful here with some gunshots. Excuse us.
So you got this guy talking about reforming the police, and gunshots are going off in the city. Don't they see the hypocrisy? They got all this violence. They got all this stuff going on. They're destroying the police departments. They're tearing them down. They're defunding them. And they wonder why this is all happening.
When the majority of the people are all in favor of greater police presence, right?
That's
overwhelmingly.
I know I would be, and that's what they say about people in the city. So you're talking about reforming police, and gunshots are going off, and people are scattering, and you're trying to defund the police.
Well, there's no credibility, right? It's like last year with the
CNN guy talking about a peaceful protest and there's buildings burning in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it doesn't make any sense, but the problem is we understand it doesn't make any sense, but I have a real struggle understanding how they don't understand that it doesn't make any sense.
They remove themselves, I guess.
What? What's with that?
Tonight on the George Floyd Memorial.
Right.
Wow, what's going on back there?
21 gun salute.
Exactly. What's going on? It's you defunded the police departments. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. And so I wish they would start to see. Okay, so that goes back to what you were saying. They don't show these people on the left the whole story.
Never.
They literally, I bet you there are literally people out there who think that cops are actually hunting down black people.
Right. That's their thought. They get up in the morning, I'm going to go out there and shoot me a black man today.
That's what
in any crazy, even the stupidest movie in the world, that would never be the case. Yeah. But they think that that's normal. And if you don't understand, you're part of the problem.
They think it's true.
That's racist.
It is racist.
Well, it is. Yeah. And so I just don't, I guess, and I don't know if any of these lefties are going to watch this show, but I always hope that there's one or two that watch the show that maybe they can realize just how illogical and how delusional their thought process has been on all this stuff. The left, the Democrats in our Congress and their media are trying desperately to create this. Wow, I don't even know how to describe it. The racism. They're trying to create racism where it doesn't exist. First of all,
right?
Because white people in general are not racist toward black people.
Never think about it.
We never even think about it. So, what they do now is, I think they've realized that the races have come together in unity in America for decades now, but that doesn't help them. So now they're creating this reverse racism where now it's okay to somehow be racist against white people.
Right.
So what do you think that's going to do? Is that going to help? How is that supposed to help anyway?
None of it helps. Well, this is the whole, and this is the crux of the problem, that if we all agree that some things should change, say racially, there's situations that should be different. The idea behind that is you want to help the people that you think are disadvantaged get to where they can be not disadvantaged, right? So the only way for those people to change their world to get to the other place is they have to have a strategy. If the strategy is looking at the past and thinking everything's wrong, you're never going to go anywhere. So it's like the leaders of these things that you're talking about are the ones gaining power by keeping the victimization going on, because it doesn't help anybody. And now when it's like, now you're more justified because now it's okay to be racist against white people, as you said, then there's a whole nother thrust of enthusiasm going on or something. But we see how crazy it is, because when you just look at the arguments they're giving you, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. And as you said, none of it is taking us anywhere good. It's no positive for future coming out of that.
And I think what their goal is, it has to be, because we always wonder what, we can't believe what the Democrats say about their intentions. We have to see the results.
Right.
And we have to recognize that they're not stupid when they set this stuff up. They're doing it for an outcome. You have to believe, after watching this sort of creation of this white supremacy and all this stuff to make people hate white people, which is never going to happen, because we're the majority of the population. We're not going to hate ourselves,
and we have all the money.
Right. So
why would you want to make those people mad at you?
I don't think that's their goal. You know what I think the goal is? I think the goal is to make white people mad at minorities, because what's happening now is minorities are given by the Democrats, by the media, a license to lash out against white people. What happens when you piss off 70% of the population? They're going to lash back, and that's not going to be good. And that is where you're going to have, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but that's where you're going to have that civil war.
They're creating the scenario.
They're creating it, and it's not to piss off black people. It's to piss off white people, I think. What are your thoughts?
Right. It's a methodology that would probably work, right? Because it's happening right in front of our faces. Because I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people, they've reached the breaking point. Like, leave me alone.
I certainly don't like when I see on TV or whatever, black people, lashing out at white people, calling white people white supremacists. When you watch Don Lemon and these clowns on CNN, when they lash out at white people for something that we don't even do, we're not interested.
Well, Don Lemon does that. Chris Cuomo needs to be on the other side of the screen. Okay,
but Chris Cuomo would agree with him.
Well, that's the point I'm making. That's what I'm saying, is that they're all brainwashed into this. That's what we have to create this narrative.
Logical thinking people who are watching this stuff, they might be getting pissed off. And I wouldn't blame them. I know I do from watching. I'm like, how can you say that stuff? How can Don Lemon and who are some of these other
that guy Juan.
Oh, Juan Williams.
Juan from
my boy Juan.
Juan's not that bad
He's
as far as the racial. Well, he is actually. He does the racial divide stuff too.
I think Juan's a faker though. I think he goes home and he's a real conservative at home.
You think
gets
so?
on the TV and makes all that money.
Yeah.
I think he's a liar.
He probably goes on and gets beat up on Fox, and then he goes home and counts his money. Yeah, it could be.
As Crenshaw says, you're a liar.
But I think that's what's happening. I think they're trying desperately to get white people to just react. And I don't think it's going to. I hope it doesn't happen.
I hope it doesn't happen either. And the thing of it is that the people that they're trying to piss off don't really have a desire to be pissed off.
That's right.
They just want to go do their thing,
which
is the whole concept in general. Just
leave me alone. I don't care if you're black. I don't care what.
Exactly.
I don't care what color you are.
See, but again, if the leadership could spin their stuff around 180 degrees and start telling, if we all agree that the family situations are part of the problem, how are you going to cultivate the next generation of families? By having them look to the past and be mad all the time? You need a generation of young black people that are looking at the world like it's full of opportunity, which it is. If you just do some things right, you're almost guaranteed to be successful, especially if you're black. Corporations are dying to hire black people. All you got to do is just not get in trouble.
You know what's interesting is I have so many black friends, especially in the Second Amendment community, and all great people. And it's just kind of sad to see this divide when I can see, what would happen if me and my friends and I were to split because of this. And we won't let that happen because we're smarter than that. But I think there's a lot of people who are really starting to just divide, just starting to split apart. And because everywhere you go, racism is pushed. Right. And it's not pushed, it's pushed in weird ways. It's pushed in ways that's stuff that's not true. And it's just to really, like I said before, piss people off.
And they get away with it. That's the thing. It's got to the point where people don't question anything if something comes at you and it feels like it's racial, it's almost as if we've been programmed to think that, I must be guilty of something. What did I do? And how, again, it's like, it's sad to look at the overview. The left in these areas seems to be pushing all kinds of strategies that are going to lead to failure no matter what.
Of course.
People are going to be mad. People are going to be fighting. And when you ask somebody about that, they don't understand that part of the context. Yeah. They're only knowing, I hear this all the time. Yeah. All my friends believe
so I must be mad about it.
Must be right. I got to be in there with the rest of them because you joined the team.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. It's hard for us. I don't know about you, but I'm basically on the right on most issues. But I question myself all the time because, is this a good argument or is this not a good argument? I know I agree. I feel a certain way about this subject, but is the argument a good argument?
I think it's good to question yourself because I do the same thing. I'm always doing research and stuff, especially with Second Amendment related issues, and I'm always questioning and always looking at data and stuff. But when you start questioning yourself as to whether or not you're racist, there's a problem there.
Right.
That's not something you need to question.
Right? Right.
Well, wait a minute now. Am I racist?
Well,
Anthony, are you racist?
No, he's probably right.
Well, isn't it stupid though? I didn't even hear what he said.
He doesn't even know what he said, Jerry.
But you are what you're taught, and this is why, again, it comes down to arguments like, I think I just got unfriended by somebody the other day, which is fine.
It's nothing new.
Well, a woman that was complaining that, and I'm saying, school is an opportunity for a lot of these kids who don't get taught positive things at home. I don't know if, I see families out a lot of times and sometimes the parents are they got stuff going on and they're not happy and the kids are there, but that's not a great environment, right? So if you can go to school and get positive reinforcement strategies to move forward to make yourself better, that's great. But if you're never taught that stuff, how do you get in a gang? You're 13 and you're going, let's look around.
Yeah.
My family or the gang? I'll go over here. But you got to change that, but it's going to be generational. The younger people have to be given options, so they have to be taught things. That's why school choice is important. You have to give kids information that they're not getting. Same thing. You got to give people the information that they're not getting. Otherwise, they'll never know.
Well, that's true, and I totally agree. And I wanted to go back to what we were talking about before about questioning yourself on if you're racist or not. And the thing is, you'll have people on the left that'll say things like, well, if you're white, you're inherently racist. So other people who can't think for themselves will listen to that and they'll go, oh, well, I guess I am then. Maybe I should question myself. Maybe I should look at my, so I wanted to see what Anthony thought about with respect to questioning yourself. Do you know whether or not you're racist or not? I mean, wouldn't that be something you probably know?
You would think I would be racist because I grew up in such a horrible neighborhood in Lower Albany.
That's right.
Probably I went to a school that was 98% black, 1% white, and 1% Asian. So I was basically the Oreo filling running down the hallway.
Oreo.
No,
I got.
You know what he is now?
I got in tons of
Oreo
fights.
filling now.
I was reverse racially dealt. People harassed me all the time because I was white. But boing, bounces off. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
I'm not racist towards black people. I don't have anything against them, and I don't care if they think I'm racist. I'm not. I don't let stuff like that get to me. It's useless stuff.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is that you have people on. Danny West is telling us. Danny West Jr. is telling us to wrap it up. So, I guess the point I was trying to make is you have people on the left trying to convince everybody else that they should question themselves, and if you don't know whether or not you're racist or not, then you can't think, I guess. I don't know.
They're not judging actions. They're judging your thoughts.
And the only reason they want you to question yourself, I know he wants us to wrap it up, but I think the only reason they want you to question yourself is in the hopes that you'll decide that you are.
How about no?
How about no? Exactly. All right, we're going to take a short break.
I'm Danny Wash Jr., producer of The Loaded Mic. I just wanted to let you know that you can find us at Simul TV, Right America Media, YouTube, and Rumble. You can also find the podcast at Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. Or you can go to loadedmic.com. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and leave a review.
The Second Amendment is a priority at the Loaded Mic. If we don't defend the right to keep and bear arms, there are people who are happy to violate it. The strategies and tactics of the anti-gun crowd and politicians are sinister. We need to understand those tactics. I wrote the Good Gun, Bad Guy book series as the rule book to their evil game, so we can understand their strategies and motives to defeat them. Understand the mindset of the anti-gunner in Book 1. Learn the media strategies behind the gun grab in Book 2. And understand the politics behind their mission in Book 3. Go to goodgunbadguy.com.
All right, we're back. Now, due to the cognitive decline and lack of critical thinking we're experiencing in our country right now, we were forced to create a new segment on the Loaded Mic called You Deserve a Knuckle Sandwich. The segment wasn't created for the intent of insulting people, but just to let you know that there are some very stupid people out there, and sometimes they deserve a virtual knuckle sandwich. So today's You Deserve a Knuckle Sandwich quote comes from a tweet by someone named Nee. Apparently, Nee has a family member who is having a baby, but Nee doesn't know exactly what that will make him or her. Here's Nee discussing the dilemma on Twitter. This is an old one, but well worth taking a look at. Nee says, quote, "My sister is pregnant. I can't wait to see if I'm a be a auntie or uncle." So, well, Nee, let us know when you figure that one out. So I just wanted to just play that, show that to you guys. I guess the question I have for you guys is, how can people be so, Anthony, how can people be so stupid?
So he doesn't know if he's going to be an auntie or
an
uncle
because they don't know what the baby's going to be. So somehow the baby determines whether they're going to be.
But if you're a dude, you're the uncle. I mean, is he confused?
That's the
so basically, if you're going to be, hi, I'm your auntie.
Yeah. Well, I guess apparently if the baby is born a girl, then this person thinks that they're going to be an aunt.
I guess that's what they think.
Oh my God.
Well,
punch him in the mouth.
Well, congratulations, Nee, or whatever your name is. You deserve a knuckle sandwich.
Knuckle sandwich.
All right, so I wanted to get back into our conversation from the first segment because I think we left a lot unsaid. Now, I know, John, we're talking about racism and we're talking about how the left is trying to encourage people to believe that they're racist, inherently racist, by telling them that, if they're white, they're racist, and they have to question themselves, and now they have to think about it, and they have to go through all this critical race theory and all this stuff. You would think that it would be something to help people, but really what it's doing is indoctrinating them into this whole thing. So you made a point during the break, and you wanted to decipher the difference between thoughts and actions.
Well, this is the problem, it seems. The fashion now is to make you question your thoughts and judge your thoughts and basically judge yourself guilty, right? That's the point of it all.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You're guilty, you need to
Well,
admit
yeah,
you're
because
guilty.
what happens if they come up and they say, okay, no, I thought about it. No, I'm not.
But even if I thought about it and yes, I am, what happens then? There's no action to follow that. I mean, the only thing that matters is how we act, right? We're all racist to some degree, I mean, we all have all kinds of biases because of all kinds of things.
Is it bias or is it racist? Because I agree that we might have biases. I might, from the way we learn, the way we're kids, we grow up and we'll see things like maybe I am biased against people who wear bow ties or something because I had an experience when I was a kid with some jerk who was wearing a bow tie.
Well, I think
that's a bias.
Well, but I think a bias when it applies to skin color becomes racism because there's no way you can change it. You can change the bow tie.
Do we have that?
Well, we all
inherently?
look at people. I mean, do you not notice a person is black when you look at them?
I know exactly what color they are because I know. Yeah,
but that's enough to say that it's racist because you're noticing the difference because of skin color.
So
we all do that. That doesn't matter.
So according to them, you can't even notice the color?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what they think. Again, they're trying to mind read us and then tell us that what we're thinking is wrong. But the thing is, on the other side of that, all these people that are committing all these crimes, just say gang stuff, they're acting a certain way. Let's deal with the actions. That's what the law does. The law deals with actions, not thoughts. The only time your thoughts come into play is if you're, say, being charged with a murder and they want to know if you figured it out ahead of time, and that would change the crime to be premeditated. But just walking down the street, I'm not supposed to look at you and say, that person's thinking the wrong things. We should do something about that. He should feel bad because he's thinking the wrong way.
He should feel bad because...
See how complicated that gets immediately? So what they're making everybody do is they're layering on these judgments on top of everything else that we have going on in our life, and they're making us judge by all the things that we've worked 100 years to not judge by. Basically, the color of your skin. That should not be a judgment. We notice it, but if I notice that and the person, and we talk, it doesn't matter to me that they're a different color than I am.
I guess my point is that just by noticing the color of someone's skin doesn't make you racist. I think they can try to encourage you to think that you're racist because you notice their skin color. But
that's just to their advantage that you think that way, because then they're right and you're wrong.
Well, just noticing someone's skin color, I mean, of course you can't help that. If somebody walked in the room and they were blue, I'd kind of notice it. I mean, wouldn't like Blue Man Group? Isn't that one?
Mm-hmm. Well, plus the people are attracted to people with different skin tones. Is that bad? That's not bad. That's part of the normal process.
Is that racist? Just like some people like certain hair color. So now if you only like, let's say, women with blonde hair, are you hair racist? Are you hair biased? Is that the new term?
I don't know. We can make up whatever we want.
I bet you. I think we're going to give them some something to go on here. Anthony wanted to hit on, which was a great point too, is that just because you come out of the ghetto doesn't mean you have to be a dirtbag. You can be productive. Is that a technical term?
Might get banned.
Like I said, I grew up in Arbor Hill, poor. I remember the best Christmas I ever had once was I got a wooden truck from my dad's work, and that's all I got. I stole my sister's Walkman because she had a better toy. But you can work. It doesn't matter what color you are, white, black, Asian, in a ghetto. There's opportunities to get out. I did it.
Yep.
I was poor most of my childhood, but I worked construction. I went on to better and better jobs every time.
Yeah.
But you got to work hard to get to those jobs. No one's going to give you the job because of your skin color. Maybe today, I don't know, but not for me. I had to work.
So you didn't get any special benefits?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. So Anthony comes from the bowels of Albany,
Arbor Hill, which was on Jeopardy last night.
Was it really?
Yes.
Yeah, Arbor Hill's
It was
not a pretty place.
No.
And so Anthony comes from there. I went to school there, and he comes out and he's able to create his own life and successful and does his thing. Why is it that the political left continues, and maybe Anthony will know this, but why is it they continue to try to keep people down? Keep people unproductive?
Because the people let them. They brainwash them to believe that they need their help, the government's help. Nobody needs your help. Anybody of any color can go and find any job that they want, go to college and graduate.
It's like you didn't have any opportunities that black people wouldn't have, right?
My white privilege card didn't work.
Yeah.
You grew up in the wrong place.
Well, I mean, it's true. You don't. Do you have any privileges or advantages that?
I don't. Not that I can ever discern. I mean, and again, because of the questioning that's been introduced, I find myself in many situations where I don't know if I overcompensate or I avoid conversations because I don't want to take a chance on getting it. Well, for instance, in the recording studio, I don't ever talk politics in the studio because you never know what somebody's feelings are coming in or what their biases are. So, and I especially don't talk politics when I have black people in the studio, but. Well, actually, that's not true. I don't do it with anybody. You know what I mean? People that I don't know, I don't assume that we have to talk about politics in order to get to know each other better on any level that matters to me. And I think that's what the
that's a good point.
Does it matter to me? If it doesn't matter to me, you can go out there and do. I don't care what you do when you're. I don't care what my doctor does when he's home or on vacation. It doesn't matter.
And you know what the thing is? We talk about the way getting out, making yourself productive, creating a great life for yourself. When I was starting out, one of my first apartments, just after leaving, my parents' house, I ended up in an apartment on, we had in Albany, we have Arbor Hill. In Schenectady, we had Hamilton Hill. Right. So I lived just on the edge of Hamilton Hill in this apartment. It was absolutely horrible. There was drugs up and down the street all day long.
Where does Hamilton Hill go to? Does it go across State Street or no?
It goes up to Crane, I guess.
All right, but you know where Mohawk Ambulance?
I was on Bridge Street. So if people want to look at a map in Schenectady, it was called Bridge Street. And it was this bridge that went to Hamilton Hill.
Oh, I know where it is.
Over to Crane Street.
I know exactly.
And if people want to pull up Google, this is not a good place to live.
Right.
And it's even worse now. But I was there, and I said, you know what? I don't care what it takes. I'm not going to be subjected or subject myself to this any longer. Exactly. I got the hell out, and I did whatever I had to do to live in the suburbs.
Right.
I didn't have any special privileges. I worked my ass off, and I saved up whatever money, and I got out of there. I thought it was great. My first apartment, oh, great, we're going to go. No, it was horrible. And but I did it all on my own, just like you.
Yeah. Well, you moved out to the suburbs because basically you needed to get closer to your mom so you could keep your Corvette in her garage, correct?
I didn't have a Corvette then. I didn't have much then.
Oh, John, your car used to crank start. Stop it.
Oh, no. We got to take another break after the crank start. We got to take another short break. But when we come back, I want to talk about this interview with David
He's
Hogg.
my favorite.
Oh, you love David Hogg.
He's a good little boy.
And my Second Amendment friends will like this one. I'm going to tear apart a David Hogg and Allison Camerata video or interview on CNN. So here we go. We'll take a quick break and be right back. All right, by now you've heard me talk about MyPillow. Now, Mike has done it again by introducing his new My Slippers. Mike's taken over 2 years to develop these. They're designed to wear indoors and outdoors all day long, made with MyPillow foam and impact gel to help prevent fatigue, and made from quality leather suede. So for a limited time, Mike is offering 40% off his new My Slippers. The My Slippers are so comfortable that you'll want to get some for the whole family. So go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener square, and use the promo code RAM, like RAM. You'll also get deep discounts on all MyPillow products, including the Giza Dream Sheets, the MyPillow mattress topper, and MyPillow towel sets. You can also call 800-867-0416, but don't forget to use the promo code RAM. All right, so here's an interview with David Hogg and Allison Camerata on CNN. And when I watched this thing, the anti-gun propaganda and rhetoric and hypocrisy was just so blatant. I had to comment on it. So I made some notes after watching it. So I want to play. Danny Wass Jr. is going to play a little bit of this, and we're going to talk about it. So go ahead. Let's hear a little bit of this.
And it's not only gun violence that's going up, it's also gun purchasing. So in just the past year, in 2020, there were nearly 23 million gun sales across the United States. That's up 65% over the year before. And then in January, after the insurrection at the Capitol, there were 2 million gun sales, and that's up 75% compared to the January before that. So what's that about to you?
I think it's about fear. I think it's about the fact that as a country, oftentimes we would rather, unfortunately, turn on each other and point to someone's skin color or point to someone's immigration status or their gender or their sexual identity and claim that's the threat, when in reality, we should all be working together against the sources of evil that are creating this gun violence and the injustice that promotes this gun violence.
All right. Right. We should stop and address the evil of gun violence. Did you hear that? And so he's talking about
school you go to. What is that? Is that a course?
I don't know. They're teaching.
Everybody's TV comes in at night while they're sleeping and plays that to them while they're sleeping.
Exactly. Well, and he says that the reason for all this is fear. But I would say, okay, yeah, I think it is fear, because gun sales, as soon as after all those 2020 left-wing riots, BLM and Antifa and all these radical groups destroying our country, burning down cities, gun sales did start to go up. I think June and July were some of the biggest months of 2020. And the majority of those people were first-time gun buyers. Right. So David Hogg, what he's saying here is that people are buying guns because they're fearful of gun violence, and they're buying more guns. I guess I really don't understand I don't think he understands what he's saying, but there is a fear, and it's a fear that the left wing is letting loose these radical terrorist groups. So yeah, he might be right about that. Go ahead, play the next clip.
And gun purchases in the first place, because the reality is, what's going to help solve this situation is not somebody buying, another AR-15 or another gun. It's going to be all of us working together to change the political system and the corruption and system of loopholes that has brought us to this place.
Change the political system.
Yeah.
So what do you think that means?
David, go out and talk to those rioters and stop the riot.
Well, yeah,
right? Get out there. Come on, let's go.
Come on, let's go. Go, David, go talk to Antifa, go talk to BLM and talk to the gang members. But when he says change, I got to make this point. He says, change the political system. You know what that means? That means get rid of the Second Amendment. They don't like the Second Amendment. Change the political system means get rid of the Second Amendment. Play a little bit more of that. I think there was a little bit more right after that.
Where a corporate, a corporate lobby, essentially like the NRA, is able to put such a chokehold on our elected officials that they're letting thousands of Americans die every year simply because they're more afraid of what the NRA will do in their next election.
The NRA, he's saying, is a gun lobby letting thousands of people die because they're afraid.
Walk me through that word, David.
So first of all, David Hogg.
David.
The NRA is not letting people die. The NRA is an organization along with others, Gun Owners of America, Second Amendment Foundation.
Wait, someone's calling.
And other, is that David? David Hogg?
He's hearing us.
They're organizations that are out there to protect our God-given rights and our Second Amendment from little skinny jean, soy boy, man bun people like you, David Hogg, who get out there and tell lies. We don't like you telling lies about gun owners, and that's why we have groups like the NRA, Gun Owners of America, because they're defending our rights against liars and propaganda pushers.
Well, all the stuff that he's talking about happening is happening because people are criminals. It's not happening because of
that's true too.
Legal gun owners.
So they use the criminal activity to push for more gun restrictions on law-abiding
So they're using
citizens.
the criminal activity to their benefit.
Boy, this little jerk pisses me off. Go ahead, play a little bit more.
And whether or not there's going to be another school shooting in their community or an everyday act of gun violence, and that has to change.
Okay, stop. I can't even take it. I can't.
He's really confused.
There'll be another school shooting.
Of course.
So did he schedule that school shooting?
Well, he probably prompted it
Next
now.
Friday at 2:30 before the bell rings. Please go into the building.
All the Q people will be watching that and going out and shooting somebody. Right.
The problem is, this is what this little jerk is doing. He's taking school shootings and he's attributing them to gun laws. The problem is the gun laws caused the school shootings. Right. We talk about this all the time. When you determine a place, a gun-free zone, and you remove security, you remove guns, you remove the ability for people, children, in this case in schools, children and teachers to defend themselves, you create the environment.
Absolutely.
And you know what the thing is, Allison Camerata, she just encourages these questions. She asks the questions, and David Hogg just goes right in and blah, blah, blah. And they're talking about all the anti-gun stuff. The problem with this, and he's talking about school shootings, David Hogg, Allison Camerata, people at CNN, all the anti-gun people, Shannon Watts and all those nut jobs, they're the cause of these problems. They're the ones who pushed for gun-free school. Joe Biden is the one who introduced the gun-free school zone in 1990.
Of course.
So these little jerks can create the problem, and then they can go out and blame school shootings on law-abiding gun owners, saying we need more gun restrictions. Go ahead, play a little bit more.
We have to come together as Americans and realize this isn't about being Democrats or Republicans. That 6-year-old, that 14-year-old, that 12-year-old that die every day, they don't have a political affiliation. They're a kid that wants to grow up, and they deserve to grow up in peace and security, no matter their zip code, no matter the color of their skin or where they come from or who they are.
Okay, stop. Stop. I can't take it.
Every day.
Is he talking about Chicago? What's he talking about?
He says the 12-year-old that die every day don't have a political affiliation. No, but you do, David Hogg. You little.
He's a twerp.
He's a twerp. He's a twerp. But you obviously do, David Hogg. You have a political affiliation, and this is the problem. It's you, the Democrats, and the gun grabbers who are creating this political divide on the topic of guns. Because the truth is, Democrats and Republicans are gun owners.
Right.
But they're desperately trying to eliminate guns from law-abiding citizens, and which is really their political opposition, Republicans, conservatives, for the most part. So to use that little 12-year-old doesn't have a political affiliation, well, maybe not, but her parents might. And you left-wingers talking about this stuff do. Right. And you're the ones who are creating these laws that are getting people killed.
In the gun-free zones.
Primarily the gun-free zones. I think there was another piece there. Can you play a little bit more?
And we have a responsibility as older people to act to protect them so that in the future.
Yes, David Hogg, we do have a responsibility to protect them. That's why you little jerks need to get rid of these gun-free school zones. You're the ones who are getting people killed. You create the gun-free zone. It's an environment where the bad guys go because they know you little jerks have eliminated guns, and you're defunding police departments, and you're doing everything you can to get people killed. And then you're using those deaths, David Hogg, to push for more gun restrictions on your fellow citizens. You should be ashamed of yourself. And all right, before I get too angry, I'm going to calm down.
It's definitely being caused by that. It's like if they stop talking about it and just let people go about what they would normally do, nobody would ever think that, hey, let's put a bunch of kids in a place and have no way to protect those kids in case something happens. Is that a good idea? Where did that come from? Joe Biden.
Joe Biden came from Joe Biden. Came from Joe Biden. Okay, I think there's one last little bit. Let's listen to David again. Oh.
They're able to be college students, and they don't have to come on CNN and talk about, the fact that we're a country that uniquely has to deal with this situation, because we don't have to. It absolutely does not have to be this way.
It doesn't have to be this way, he's saying. In other words, if I could narrate what he's actually trying to say is, it doesn't have to be this way. In other words, we can put more gun restrictions in place. We can ban guns. We can remove certain styles of guns and all that stuff. That's how we're going to solve it. That's what he thinks. That's what the anti-gun lefties think. And the truth is, it's going to make the problem worse, because good people like Anthony, let's get the camera on Anthony, good people like Anthony are going to be disarmed and helpless. What do you think about that?
Doesn't make sense. See, they always talk about the good guy, but we're not talking about the criminals who get guns from anywhere they can.
Yep.
You're always going to... You can take the guns away from anybody. Every American... someone's still going to get a gun somewhere. That's how it works. You're not going to stop it, and gun-free zones don't work. He knows that, but he's a camera hog. Hog.
He is exactly a camera hog, and no, that's true. So I just wanted to play a little bit of that, and to get your thoughts.
He's confused, but he's young and he's on TV. Why is that?
Yeah, he was off TV for a while. He was
trying to invent a pillow and it didn't work.
Oh yeah, what happened with the pillow?
He named it Hog and it didn't work.
He was going to have a pillow fight with Mike Lindell.
Yeah, it didn't work.
He sold them all to QAnon members. That's why he went out of business, because they
There's a lot of talk about QAnon. I'm not really even too familiar with, and they were trying to, I've heard of it, but people were trying to say that Trump was into QAnon, and he's like, what is it? I don't even know what it is. So they couldn't stick that to him. They tried.
But that's a great example of how a lot of the stuff works. They turn it into something that everybody should be afraid of, and those of us who are supposed to be guilty of being part of it are all looking around going, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
I don't really. I mean,
I don't talk like that.
Somewhat familiar, but it's like, I don't know. They find stuff and they try to tag you with it, and they try to. And the narrative works good. They're pretty good at it anyway. So, okay. Sorry about that little rant, but it had to be said. I think that we need to call out these little jerks.
Nice that David's back around again, though, so we can beat on him.
Well, it's just we have to call them out when they say stupid things. We have to correct them, and we have to straighten out the narrative and make sure that it's accurate. That people are watching. People who are watching this interview with David Hogg, they don't know. They're like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. Okay,
sounds
yeah,
good, right.
Sounds good, yeah. They don't know that these people, the ones that are pushing for the gun regulations, are the ones causing the problems, getting people killed and then standing on the graves of the dead children. So that's my point.
Good point.
That's it. We got to wrap it up anyway. So, all right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See you later.
Thanks so much for watching The Loaded Mic on YouTube, Rumble, Simul TV, and Right America Media. You can also catch the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. I'm Dan Wass, and the Second Amendment is not a privilege. It's your right.
Hi, America. America. My name is Savannah Lynn, and I'm the host of a political commentary podcast called The Savvy Truth. If you love God, love your family, and you love this country, you can tune in at Right American Media on Facebook or at ramtv.live. This podcast airs 7 Eastern and 6 Central.
Hey Christians, here's a thought. If Jesus really rose from the dead, then that means that he's really God. And if he's really God, then the Bible is really true, like he said it was. And if the Bible is really true, then we can't be right about issues unless we're biblical about them. I'm Josh Barnes, host of Point of View, where we ask crucial questions about critical issues and find the answers from a biblical worldview. Watch Point of View every weekday at 4:30 Eastern Time on Right America Media on Facebook and at www.ramtv.live.
It is necessary to purge the establishment.
What she's suggesting that churches do, a focus on...
That's not necessarily a good thing to start with. It wasn't around when we needed the greatest generation of the 30s or 40s. It
happened before the election because there's too many Republicans that are afraid that their wrongdoing is going to...
It's unacceptable, and I'm not going to sit here, stay silent, and not call it out. I'm calling out the
With
lies.
rules for Thanksgiving. Who the hell is he to tell us what we're supposed to do?
Do they think that we are so stupid that we will not notice and find out?